Welcome to the show. Some of the following ideas in my opening monologue here are expressed as song lyrics from the new album, Breathe In, Breathe Out. The artists have joined together. Imagenes Mentalis and Call Me Shadow have just released this, their first album together. What a world we live in right now. A world where different continents can now share ideas through music. Sharing through music so many feelings, sometimes feelings of isolation, but togetherness. Sharing our common experience of the pureness of birth, the new excitement of being alive, and the loneliness of death. Of love, understood, and of love, so often misunderstood. Wondering how to save yourself while striving to save others. Extending this life to a full lifetime. What is your fairy tale? Do you ever wonder if you have missed your cues? There are stars in your lover's eyes. Do they tell you something? And there are shadows on the water. Are the shadows trying to tell you something? No matter the borders that make up the imaginary lines that divide us, we are more alike than we are different. We share the same fears. We find solace in them together through music across continents. We sing to the stars and we wonder if anyone hears us. We know that music sounds sweeter when we are together. If life is like a movie, then your soundtrack is sweeping. It's cinematic. It's sad sometimes. It's glorious at others. These are sounds and sound waves that lift up your life. Music connected by my two very special guests today. Oh, Richard?
Yes. Yes.
Can you mark that last line? I flubbed it.
All right, stand by. Let me go ahead and fix it. I'll cue it up.
Yeah, just that last music connected, that last line. I don't read very well either. Okay.
What's the starting line you want to start with?
Music sounds that lift up your life, and then the next line I said music connected, and that whole line right there. I'm just going to start over.
So you want to start with music connected by.
It's I said by, yes, but I'm going to read.
You want to start with that beginning line, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to start with music connected by?
I'm going to redo that line. Music connected my two very special guests today.
All right, I'll count you down. You start with that line.
Got it.
3, 2, 1.
Music connected my two very special guests today. Like us, they come from different parts of the world. Like us, they breathe in and breathe out. And they explore these timeless themes in their shared music, as we do. The lyrics are underlined and emphasized by their sweeping cinematic crescendos, heartbreaking melodies, and in the very next breath, they are upbeat and poppy, encouraging dance and adrenaline from the listener. The songs on their new album, Breathe In, Breathe Out, are as ever-changing, as complex as their own lives, as our own lives. And bridging an ocean and 7 time zones, they have managed to craft a personal and geographical music connection between Costa Rica, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. And so they proved that miles apart mean nothing when the connection is right. Somehow they heard each other's musical songs to the stars, and the connection was electrifying. Because as we all know, music sounds sweeter when we are all together. He is Carlos Plaza, Imágenes Mentales. He is a Venezuelan musician, a composer, and a producer, and he lives in Costa Rica. He has published 11 albums and EPs, and his latest release, Presagios, was featured by Bandcamp in the New and Notable section in August of 2021. She is Sanka. Call Me Shadow. She is a singer-songwriter from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and her first official single, Time, was published in 2021 by the Music Production of Radio Television of Bosnia and Herzegovina. On October 16th, 2022, Imagenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow released their first album together, Breathe In, Breathe Out. You're going to hear most of the songs, and I played extended versions as much as I could of the songs from the album on this interview. You're really going to enjoy it, I promise you. This is what music sounds like when Venezuela and Bosnia connect. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much.
So let's start with Call Me Shadow. Where are you right now? Where in the world are you? Where are you casting your shadow?
I am casting my shadow in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. That is where I live. That is where I work. I work as an associate at the music production of radio and television of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I am a musicologist, a songwriter, a little bit of music pedagogue as well. So music has been a central point and basically the entire essence of my whole existence, my being, and my whole life, and it will continue to be so until further. So my first single, when I actually decided to do this singer-songwriter thing, that was back in 2018, and I have been writing songs, and that was what I call pen, paper, piano version for a very, very long time, basically since I was like 15 or something. But I have never transferred that to producing until 2018. That's when I really started to go at it, and I decided, okay, no more scares, no more excuses, no more being frightened, no more putting myself to the side or doubting what I can do with this. Let's get on with it. And so some things just sort of started evolving from that point. I switched jobs from a music teacher to an associate at basically the state's record label where I work right now. And that opened up a whole other world to me, and it made me become not just a person who is involved in the Bosnian music industry as a worker, but also as somebody who is always thinking about songwriting as a craft, ways in which songs are shaped, ways in which artist and the songwriter in one person blend, and how it all goes. So the past 2 years, I have to say, have been a very intense experience for me. And also after my first song was published, I worked on ways in which I could better my craft, my artistry, and see also what it means to unite my creative energy with someone else. And around that time was when Carlos and I met. So that is a short story of Call Me Shadow before Imágenes Mentales.
I've got way too many questions from that. That's a great introduction of Call Me Shadow, and I've got so many questions for you. One, and we'll introduce your co-writer here and your co-creator on this just a really, really great album. You two, you should be, and you are. I can tell you're very proud of it, and you should be. It's a beautiful album with so many layers.
Thank you very much.
Call me Shadow.
Yeah.
The when I was reading your bio, your biography here, and a little bit about you, the music production of radio television of Bosnia and Herzegovina, I'd never heard of this. And then you taught it's a government label. Can you explain a little bit for
That is,
me? And
yes, I can explain. That is a sector that works within the national radio television of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we have radio, we have television, and we also have the music production, which works as the third sector and which manages several things. One being preparing all of the musical content that goes in the radio and TV shows that is being broadcast in the program of radio and television of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So music production has a very extensive, large, and long tradition. It has been founded in 1962. And from that point onwards, it has, in its initial stages, it mainly dealt with the traditional Bosnian song, which is called Sevdalinka. You may have heard of the expression, you may not, but basically Sevdalinka is something that is we can be free to say it's a national Bosnian brand, so to speak. So one of the things when you come to Bosnia and you ask people over here, when it comes to music, everyone is going to say Sevdah or Sevdalinka. It's like the essence of our Bosnian musical being. So the music production, that very sector, has a very long tradition. It has published a lot of singers who are dealing primarily with Bosnian traditional music, but also it has encouraged some of the greatest and most popular bands, the most popular of them being Indeksi, which is the band that basically defined Bosnian pop and rock music scene in the 1960s. And that band, Indeksi, has recorded extensively also in the studios of BHRT, the Bosnian Broadcasting Service. So the entire history of Bosnian music scene is actually intertwined with the history of music production. So you cannot speak about one without speaking of the other. And I can also say that at the moment, we are working on publishing on the streaming services a lot of old editions from some of the greatest and finest Sevdalinka singers. So we are putting them on Spotify, we're putting them on Deezer, we're sort of spreading the word and trying to get them to be heard and to be actually heard and seen, and to get this musical history, basically the entire history of music publishing and the music production, to get it into the digital age. So that's what we're dealing with right now. And since we are talking about my workplace, the music production and everything, I would just like to use this opportunity to give a shout out to my boss, Yasmin Ferovic, and the rest of our great team, who I'm sure have put in and still continue to put in effort and are generating ideas on what's the next thing to do every day. So we are it's a very dynamic team, and we are always doing something, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, you're very proud of your country and your music and your heritage, aren't you?
Well, yes, I am. Although a lot of Bosnians these days, when our country is in the situation it is in, we are inherently on the inside. We are always proud of what we have. We are proud of our country, but we are absolutely not proud of the state itself, the way it's governed, the way things are handled. So we love the country, but we hate the state.
You have freedom as an artist. a lot of freedom to work with people, you know, such as Imágenes Mentales, your co-creator for this new album. Do you have freedom to do that and broadcast?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and music and
Absolutely.
share.
I as an artist and as a songwriter, I have the freedom to work with whoever I want, and I have the freedom to explore all kinds of styles and all kinds of topics. And I think that's what is one of the most attractive things for me as a songwriter in general, because whatever comes to my mind, I am able to, as an idea, I am able to record myself like as an audio, or I am able to write it down, and then that idea just keeps generating somewhere. And then I can come back to it and see what I can work with, or I can blend two
Mhm.
or three ideas together and something totally new comes out of it.
Yeah.
So
And,
being a songwriter in general, being a creative individual in general is a very exciting thing. And every day is different. Even when all days seem the same on the surface. You know, you go to work, you have daily, you run errands, you do stuff, you pay bills and things, but not on the inside.
not in your mind.
Every day is different.
Your mind is
Every
free.
day is different.
Yeah. Your mind is free to create and create beautiful lyrics, beautiful music. Are both of you songwriters on the new album? Breathe In, Breathe Out.
Uh,
Well, we both wrote the songs, but in order to explain that in a bit more detail, things kind of get a bit more complex since
Well,
we both worked on it, but
I can explain you
um,
that part.
yeah, before you
sorry.
do that, let's introduce Imagine's Mentality.
Yeah, you can do
Uh,
that.
yeah, let's kind of bring you guys together. This is an incredible story that you both have and how you came together. Um, Imagine's Mentalities. Can you talk to us about where you're at right now?
I'm in Costa Rica right now, 5:33 p.m.
5:33 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, that's so you're 2 hours ahead of me. I'm in Santa Barbara, California. It's where we're broadcasting out of. So I love this idea, not only that you guys have brought together with your creativity in this new album, but I love the idea that we can all talk from different parts of the world. And what we're talking about is your music. And your music touched me. It's going to touch our listeners that have not heard it yet. That follow, a lot of them follow this show to meet people like you and to hear new music, and they're searching for new voices. And this is really a terrific album. I love it. Let's tell the story of how the two of you met. Who wants to take
Okay.
that one?
On October 16, 2021, I received a new follower on Instagram. It happened to be Senka. And it was
Lucky
like, okay,
you.
I followed back and went to her profile, right? And I listened to her song 2 times, and I loved her voice and I loved the vibe of the song. So I sent her a DM, right? And we started talking about, bands and musicians, and she heard some of my songs, of my albums, and we started to feel like really connected, like a lot. And it's funny because the other day I sent her a screenshot of that day, or that conversation, when we were like telling each other at the same time, like we wrote at the same time, like we should collaborate. She told me, like, if you need a female singer one day for any one song, you can call me and tell me. And I was like, and I was writing the same thing. We should collaborate on one song. And then we started working on the first song, that is Blurring the Lines, that was released on February. And the process was really magical. It was really magic. Our process is, I worked on the music, right? For example, on this, that was the first song, we were like getting to know each other, right? And it was like, okay, I sent her like a demo of the song, like a really well demo, right? Like really established with the structure and piano and the bass of the song. And she started, working with lyrics. And then I was like, okay, this is really amazing, and then she sent me like melodies, and she was like singing, and we were like sharing ideas, like, okay, you can use some harmonies here and there. And the process was like that through the whole album. However, our connection is so perfect,
So, what a magical thing that happened there through music, right? But it also happened online through social media. And Call Me Shadow, tell me, why did you reach out to Imágenes Mentales?
She thought I was good looking. No, no.
God, your voice sure changed there, Call Me Shadow. It got a little deeper.
Well, it was very accidental, I must say, that very first initial thing, because I was really reaching out to people in Bosnia and trying to connect with as many people as I could. And that wasn't the initial thing wasn't only to try to collaborate the way Carlos and I did, but also to maybe try to find, I don't know, singers to write for or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And since I am, my direction is to write in English and not Bosnian, so I was really focused on trying to connect with people outside of Bosnia as well, and try to find people who share some similar artistic visions as my own. So what I think is that I actually followed a page and went to the followers or followed by section of some page that deals with songwriting or something. And then among those accounts where I followed, I also happened to follow Imágenes Mentales. And then he followed back, and he texted, and we started talking, and I listened to his songs as well. And I loved the vibe. I loved the energy. I loved the vibrance. I loved so much in those songs. And it just, at first, it felt so good to listen to his music. That was the first thing. But then it also felt so deep and so vibrant and poignant. And I was like, this is something else, And what was very interesting from the very beginning is that we understood each other so well. We started that this is going to sound weird, and this is going to sound like we are making things up. But from the very first moment we started talking, we started thinking, like, we realized we were thinking the same way. Our thoughts go in the same direction. And that was something I've never experienced that before. And I thought, and also what makes this whole thing out of this world is that I was looking for people to collaborate with, but I thought, it's going to take 5 or 10 years for me to find someone to work like this with. I will have to, I don't know, play in 5 bands, or I will have to go and try to write a song with 10 people and something, as usually all these stories from music industry go. And so when Carlos and I started talking, and when we started working on our first song, and when it all started just to fall into place, I thought, okay, I have only one official single, and this is already happening. And it's just, I was speechless throughout the whole process. It was just,
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It's a thing of destiny.
Yeah.
One of the lyrics in Learn the Line says it.
Yeah. Well, in fact, hold that thought. Just one moment. We're going to take our first commercial break, and we're going to you've listened to them. You've had a little bit of an introduction to Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow. And now you get to hear the first song. And this is interesting. I didn't know this was the first song you two had collaborated on together. And I chose this as the first song going to break. Now we're going to take you to break, and we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. This is Blurring the Lines, and it's off the new album, Breathe In, Breathe Out, by Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow. It's their first album that they've released together. The duo connects continents with this album and brings you the unique blend of ambient, indie, and alternative sound in this incredible debut album, titled, again, Breathe In, Breathe Out. I'm going to keep telling you this because I want you to go right now to, you can go anywhere on where music is streamed and find the album. But I'd prefer, if you don't mind, listeners, you love to support our music artists that are on the show. And the way that you can do that is go to Bandcamp. Over all the other online streaming platforms, the artist makes and takes home the most from a sale on Bandcamp. So I love to promote Bandcamp, and you can get the album there. From Indian synth-pop influences to ambient post-grunge, from alternative rock, the album evokes the musical nostalgia of the 80s and 90s across modern sonic horizons. The feel, the concept, and the texture of this album is very cinematic. The collaboration between these two music artists, our special guest today, beautifully blends the sounds of rock, again, ambient sound, techno, new wave, post-punk, industrial, and indie to create a unique, fresh, and powerful sound. Pick up your copy of Breathe In, Breathe Out on Bandcamp now. And you can find it on all streaming platforms. We'll be right back. Cool. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We have some great, such special and talented guests on the show today. I'm really having a great time getting to know both of them. We took you out to break with Blurring the Lines. This was the first collaboration that they did together, and as Call Me Shadow says, it was magic from the first moment. Was meant to be, really. And the entire album, when I first started to hear it, I thought of, and I don't know if you like this, I try not to compare artists with anybody else, but I did hear The Cure, and I love The Cure, and I hadn't heard it from, you guys took it to a whole different level in a whole different way and made it your own, but I was just thinking of The Cure the other day and how I missed that. Nobody's doing that kind of music, and the lyrics, and it's dreamy and cinematic, and God, the melodies and all that. You could just fall in love, and this album came along for me at the right time too, because I was just thinking about that. You're gonna love it. It's called Breathe In, Breathe Out, and the two artists that are on the show today, first time on the show, Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow.
You're gonna make me cry with that comment, because The Cure is among my top 5 artists, and especially Careless Night. The guitars, that song that is with that 80s vibe, and the chorus and the guitar, and that dark but happy at the same time, nostalgic. And I love The Cure. The other day I was telling Senka, she's not too much yet into The Cure, but she will. She hasn't given the opportunity to listen to that masterpiece.
I know what you've done, though. You've created, it made me think of it, but it also took me, usually you have a song or an artist or a band that you love from, let's say, your middle school or your elementary school or your high school years, or your first love, or all these different milestones in your life, and a song can bring you back to that moment like no other. A feeling that you had. You can feel the way you felt when you first fell in love, 20 years back, from one song that played. And it's such, music is such a incredible gift, art form in that way. And so when I first started listening to your album, I didn't hear The Cure. I heard you, but you took me back like the Cure, if I was listening to Cure like I would have to this time in my life, these moments, they came back very, very strong with your music, which says so much, I think, about you two as artists and the album you've created, that you were able to take me there, and it was the first time I heard you. It was very special.
That's
So,
amazing. That's
yeah, it
amazing.
is amazing.
It's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you for that. That doesn't happen a lot, right? It's not all music that does that for you. So,
That's great. Again, I'm gonna cry again. This is a great interview. You're great, you
issue.
man. You know what?
Let's all cry together.
Yeah, yeah. From the distance, you know what? Imágenes mentales. I'm a very, I don't know, it's about the memories. That's what it means in Spanish, like mental images or something like that. It's like memories. And that's why my music, even my previous albums, is very, it takes you back in time. I had people listening to my songs by my side crying because it was so emotional. That's the greatest feeling in the world for an artist and musician. So
And it's not that common, right? You guys have accomplished this with your first album, and much more to come, I'm sure. But it's not that common that not all music does that for you. So, so let's talk. You explained your name. That was one of my next questions. Was your name? You explained. I think you explained it, unless the way you wanted to. How about call me Shadow? Is there a reason we call you Shadow?
Well,
And if
it's
you don't
sort of
want to
a funny
explain,
story.
from the
It's a
dark.
funny story because it's a very simple story actually. My name, my Bosnian name is Senka, and in Serbian language, which is very similar to Bosnian language, they all come as South Slavic languages. So in that language, it is understood as shadow, but in Bosnian, it is a slightly different. It's called Sienka. So basically, my name in those South Slavic languages can be understood as shadow, and people can, like, people who hear my name for the first time, especially people who speak in that language, they're like, oh, your name is Shadow, so they call you Shadow. And so that's how it all came. And I was always like, when I was younger, I was translating my name to English. It was always Shadow. So it kind of stuck with me all throughout my life. And so when the time came for my first single to be released, and I was thinking, okay, I am a singer-songwriter. I am a singer-songwriter persona who now needs to present herself to the public and who is able to put this whole additional identity and all that. But like, I don't want to be my everyday self, but I still want to be myself. And of course, since my songs are in English, I was like, okay, I was at the music production actually, and I was just thinking about what can be done. And I was like, it's going to be Call Me Shadow. Very simple. So that's how it came to be. It was Call Me Shadow, and it stayed that way. And it was understood at the time, and it still is, that basically Call Me Shadow as the way shadow itself is transformed and moves behind the person who is creating the shadow, is something that will be transforming all the time. Call Me Shadow is not something that is fixed. It's not a fixed visual identity. It's going to change with every era that my singer-songwriter identity falls into. So Call Me Shadow is, the name itself is fixed, but also it is an evolving concept, so to speak.
I love that. And
Thank you.
evolving, perfect word for the relationship, the music that you created. This album is so breathe in, breathe out again, the new album. is uh, it covers so much ground within one body of work, emotionally, from as we've said, the arrangements and the music that you've put together, from the vocals to the lyrics. You've said, Call Me Shadow, that the music and the story behind this project is something that you both believe it could touch a lot of people. Can what is it that you hope will resonate with your new fans and your current fans? And what is it that you hope, you're being broadcast internationally, globally, with just this radio show, and I'm sure there are many more to come. What is it, as you reach new ears right now with your music around the world,
Yeah.
that you hope will touch a lot of people and that will resonate?
This album is like, as you said, it touches a lot of genres, different kind of music. You have from ambient, from rock, from 80s new wave, dream pop, and the concept is a concept album, actually, the breathe in, breathe out. So the idea with these songs, and for example, I've always write music like that. I don't like to repeat myself, but I like to have like my signature, my sound. But I'm always trying to evolve, to change, So I don't like the musician that it's the same album, you know, again and again and again. And also with this album, we try to, okay, let's try to, what are our the bands that we like, the music that we like. Okay, let's make it very, like it's like a melting pot. If you have, it's like so many ingredients. That way we can touch is what we like. We will touch, and we hope to touch as many millions of people, hopefully, and with different tastes in music. It's not like, okay, I tell people, if you listen to our music, to one song, listen to the whole album, because this song won't tell you the rest, how the rest of the songs sound, because they are completely different from each other. So
But they
hopefully,
work together really well. It's not, there are all those different genres that we've mentioned, and if you hadn't heard the album, you might think, well, does it have an identity? And it actually really has the identity is throughout. All the music
totally.
is different, but it really is almost a journey and music and
Thank
yeah.
you for that. It's like a soundtrack. It's like a soundtrack for an imaginary movie, you
Yeah.
know. And we hope to put this music in films. That's one of our main goals, hopefully on TV or something like that.
You guys should talk to me offline. I can connect you with all the right people.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, we'll
That would
talk.
be awesome.
Yes. How different you both were raised, and I've got 1 minute, so maybe I'll take one answer from one of you, and then the next we'll take the break and listen to some more good music from you. But you found each other on Instagram. You found each other as collaborators and started collaborating, and then it blossomed quickly and took on a life of its own. But how different are your lives? Call Me Shadow. Tell me, how different is it? Do you guys talk about this? How different was your upbringing compared to, you know, Imágenes Mentales? How different? It seems like it would be very different.
Well, culturally, I think there are some differences between Venezuela and Bosnia, but somehow when we talk about things that shaped us, and when we talk about some things from our earlier years and how things are, we realized we share more similarities than differences. And I think that's why we are able to communicate all the time, and why we are able to express our thoughts and opinions to each other.
What are
Because
some
I
of
don't think I don't think any of this would work if we were like polar opposites in so many ways. Well, to be honest, we talk about a lot of things. We became great friends throughout this whole process. We crafted such a beautiful connection throughout all of this that I see Carlos as someone very close to me, and it's very, I don't even see him anymore as someone I don't know in person. Like, you know, there are no more those boundaries like, oh, you know, he's some guy I know online, I should be careful with him or something, or he is a friend but I've never met him, so I should, you know, I should be restrained or whatever.
So you two have never
It's
met in person.
no, we've never met in person. Everything happened online and is happening online.
We will next year. We have to.
We got to get
We
you
will
all,
try to figure something out. We owe that to each other.
get you both to LA and get you in front of some people that make decisions
You
about.
know what? I want to add something to that question. It's like I say to people, like I tell people that it's our connection is pure perfection in everything, and we never met in person, but we love each other as human beings. It's, you know, I want to add something else here. I will be quick. When I started making music, when I released my first album in 2013, after that I recorded one EP and one album with a cousin of mine. She's also a singer. We worked together in Venezuela in 2006, 2007. Then we stopped talking to each other for like 7 years, and then we met again and we released that music. We recorded an album in Barcelona, between Barcelona and Costa Rica. That album opened the doors for my music here in Costa Rica. And it's, well, what I wanted to say with this is when we were started to write songs in 2007 and we stopped talking, I started to look for a singer for so many years, and it's impossible. I was like American Idol, you know, auditioning singers, and it was impossible. This thing that happened between Senka and I is one in a million. Believe me, I can tell you that for my personal experience.
Mhm.
I think I've auditioned like, I don't know, 50, 100 singers and never worked. So I started doing the music by myself, everything, even as a singer. I'm not a singer, but I learned to sing my songs. So what this collaboration is more than a collaboration. It's really something special. It's really something special and something unique.
And as they say, the proof is in the music. So we're going to take it a break real quick here with Breathe In, Savage Time. And when we come back, I forgot to mention we came back in with One More Minute, which I love. And I got to find out what made you so angry. Call me Shadow. There's got to be a good story there. Okay, here is Breathe In, Savage Time. We'll be right back. Cool. Okay. One more break. A short one, right? So we'll do a short.
Yeah, we can do a short one here, and then time for whatever you want to do.
Okay, cool. How are you guys doing? You feeling good?
Great.
Awesome.
Good? Okay. You're not bored yet? Okay.
No.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. I hope you did this while you were on break. I forgot to remind you, but I think if you're hearing the music, you got a little bit of the music and a taste of the new album by Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow. They're my special guest today on the show. The album is called Breathe In, Breathe Out. I hope that you went to Bandcamp and downloaded the album. It's also available if you haven't got your paycheck yet for this week. You can go listen to it on streaming platforms. But when you get that paycheck, go back to Bandcamp, get Breathe In, Breathe Out. It's a fantastic album. It's going to be one of your favorites, I am sure, for many, many years. Soundtracks to our lives, and this is one of those albums that I think will become one of your most loved albums in your collection. Welcome back, guys, to the show. We just came back with um, Grain of Salt. But I teased before the break. I have a feeling, but correct me if I'm wrong, that the lyrics in One More Minute, Call Me Shadow wrote. It sounded like there's a story there. Somebody screwed up.
Well,
I hope it was
I wrote all the lyrics to all the songs and the melodic parts. But what's special about One More Minute is that in order to understand Call Me Shadow and One More Minute, you will have to understand that this is the biggest step out of the comfort zone Call Me Shadow has ever made. So this is something that I never thought I would do vocally. And it is also probably one of the most raw, energetic songs when it comes to lyrics that I ever wrote. And this entire album also, and I say this because you will completely understand One More Minute when I say this. This entire album and the entire process has been a journey of bravery for me, because I was kicking myself out of the comfort zone, and I was also kicking myself into the discipline of writing all the time, thinking about ideas to write all the time, and crafting the phrases and always coming up with, this should be done better, this should be done like this, like that. But when Carlos sent this, the instrumental outline for One More Minute, and he told me, he gave me the instructions on how to go with vocals and how it should be more open, how it shouldn't be restrained, how I should go wild and then go all punk rock and things. And my first thought was, no, I can't do this. It was like, no way, no way.
He told me that, and it was, no, you will do it. You are
You will do it.
You can
And
do
actually,
it.
the very, I have to say, and I owe this to Carlos, really. And that's why our personal connection is so strong. I owe this to you, really. Is that whenever I said I couldn't do something, or I didn't feel like I could do something, you were like, you can do it. And you pushed me. And so instead of backing out and telling you, no, I can't, no, I can't.
You know what
I was like,
what I told her? I don't accept a no for an answer.
So maybe when you were your vocals were so powerful, maybe you were a little mad at.
Mad at me.
I'll show you I can't do it. Don't tell me what to do.
It wasn't the song wasn't about Carlos.
It turned out clear. To be.
But it was
almost like
it was
my script a little bit, because I was going to ask you both, what did you learn, each of you learn about yourself that the other taught you in this process as artists together in this collaboration? Could you give me both one-word answers, and we'll take this quick break and then we won't have any more breaks?
Just start, Senka.
Okay, I start. I will go with 2 words, discipline and energy.
Mine, that I'm used to always, work and do everything with my albums, to collaborate with somebody that it wasn't myself doing everything, and it felt good.
I like it. All right, here, speaking of things that feel good, here is Shadows in the Water. We'll be right back. So, by the way, Senka, we're dropping the recording that you did in each of these commercial breaks. So that's why I'm not repeating, I'm not voicing all of these so that I don't repeat what you're saying. So, but you are getting right now in this broadcast, you're getting in our master file, sound file, you've got a commercial going.
Maya, we're still in a break. Can I say something off the air?
Yeah. Well, everything's being recorded, so this will be on YouTube, and I don't edit it.
Okay, nice.
So if you don't want to say it,
Are you gonna
we
play?
go-
Are you gonna play Careless Night? I want to tell a story about that song.
which one?
Careless Night.
Yeah, we're gonna actually debut and play the entire song at the very end of the interview.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so you want me to set you up to tell a story for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something, I think Richard can pause this. Do you need to say something else right now that you don't want recorded?
No.
Okay.
Only that.
Okay. All right. So just a few more questions for you. I mean, we could keep going for a long time, but I want to keep this as much as we can close to radio airtime so we don't have to trim any of it. Let me find my spot here.
No long answers. Thank God.
No, we just want, I don't want to
Thank God.
at all.
No long answers. Thank you.
I get carried away. My deepest apologies.
No, you're a storyteller. I'm actually
We both are.
Believe me, I can talk for hours, but I've been doing radio interviews for some years now, so I know how it goes. I keep it short.
Yeah, well, the podcast can go long for sure. What I want to say to you both, you're now a part of our radio family. So when you want to debut new songs, when you have new music, when you're working on anything you're working on, if you wanted to bring me artists from your, I don't want to mess up the name, but where you work, Sanka, and you want to introduce them, bring them to us. This is now your home. You're in the family. So it's a good spot to be. Okay. We're going to come back with Breathe Out, and then we're going to do your world premiere. So in between that, I got a couple more questions for you. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Ready to go? Richard, whenever you're ready.
I didn't even know you took a break.
Yeah.
All right, stand by. All right, that's all right. Here we go.
Yeah, I took a break like 2 minutes ago.
Well, I was listening, but okay, not a problem. You're all good.
You'll find it. We went to break with Shadows in the Water.
Okay, stand by. And 3, 2, 1. You're live.
That was Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow. They've just released their first album together. If you're just joining us, the duo connects continents with this album and brings you the unique blend of ambient, indie, and alternative sound in this incredible debut album titled Breathe In, Breathe Out. We went to break with Breathe Out. We went to break with Shadows in the Water, and we came back with Breathe Out. In a moment here, we're going to give you the Jeremiah Show world premiere of Careless Night. Before we say goodbye to our guest today, it's going to be such a sad parting of ways here. We've had so much fun together. I got a couple more questions. What's interesting to me, and I've never asked this of anyone before, but we just did our 500th show a few weeks ago. And every single day in my email inbox, I probably have, no exaggeration, I'm under exaggerating, 20, 25 music submissions to me. Great letters from people that say, can you please play this on the show? I get past them so fast because they keep coming in, and I think I've got to give this artist their due and listen to them a little bit, listen to their song and not just, and so who has all the time, right? None of us have any time for that, for anything anymore. So I started putting them in a special folder, and on the 500th show, it was a part 1, 2, 3. And we had an opportunity. Every show, as you guys know, is 7 songs that we play. For every single, and I try never to repeat the song. So I found your single, and we played that. I can't remember which episode. I sent it to you and I told you the wrong episode. But we played your single and I found your email and I heard the music and I loved the music and I put it in the show right away. Um, how did you find this show or how did you find me? I'm curious.
That was through a Facebook page, which dealt with recommendations to for submitting to various radio stations across the globe. So when Carlos and I started promoting this album, we decided to manually find as many email addresses as we could, and we used also we used search, but we used also social media and things. And I came across, I think it was a Facebook group or something, where a lot of those emails were listed. And one of those emails was also the email of your show. So I emailed it to you and I was like, okay, and the more addresses that I send it to, the bigger our odds are. And so it happened, and thank you.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Because I didn't know how, and I don't know how people find. I mean, I contribute to Radio Indie Alliance, my top 10 every week. Haven't done that for a little while, so I was just curious how it came to me. And I do want to tell all the artists out there that have submitted to me that I have not got to, that I've decided that I'm going to start. I pick music that I like that are from artists that are more established typically. I've decided I'm going to start going through every single that comes into me and start using those for my soundtracks so that we play these independent artists such as yourselves and give you some airtime. So keep sending your music, and if you haven't heard it yet, you will. I promise you. I'll get you I'll keep doing shows until I run out of music, which I don't know which one will come first. But thank you for explaining that to me. I'm so glad that you did. I'm so glad that I heard the music. It was, it was out of 21. So I picked 21 songs, and yours was one of them. So let's go back to you as artists. What does each one of you individually bring as a talent? Like, and again, because we are running out of radio airtime, a couple of word answers if you could. But what do you think? Call me Shadow. What do you bring as an artist, or what is Imágenes Mentales bring as an artist to you that complements you, and vice versa?
What Imágenes Mentales brings to Call Me Shadow is a very professional, vibrant way of musical thinking while arranging and producing. And the way in which music ideas are conveyed and transformed and brought while being blended with lyrics. And sometimes it's even hard to really differentiate those things because our energies blend so much. But if we speak what stemmed from the technicalities, then what Imágenes Mentales brings is this the sound, the unique sound color that gives life to the vocals and lyrics, and vice versa, because the vocals and lyrics were inspired and have come to be directly because of the instrumental outlines that happened before. So Imágenes Mentales is the initial point and is the biggest layer of everything on which Call Me Shadow relies.
Yeah. Imágenes Mentales. What does Call Me Shadow bring to that uplifts your creativity, as a musician, as a musical artist, as a person?
I think she described very well the music part. What I can tell is she brings like magic, happiness, because I think every musician feel this, but I connect so much with music. It's like my drug. It's something that I cannot control. I release, in 9 years, 12 releases between EPs and albums, and this collaboration with Senka is like I've been saying in this interview, it's pure perfection. I always say that I don't have words. Again, this is something that it doesn't happen. It's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. So she brings happiness to my life
Mm.
through the music and everything,
That's
and
great.
personal.
Sweet.
And the other way around.
I like you guys. I like you guys together. It's
Like,
collaborators and friends.
We like you too.
Good. I'm glad. Three's a crowd though, so I'll just let's ask one last question. Y- Individually, which song in the album means the most personally to each of you, and why?
I think it's impossible. My favorite song.
It's like
I want to
asking
pick
what's your
one.
favorite band, right?
Yeah. Now, my favorite song in the album. I love them all. It's very difficult. The one that you already played is "Breathing Savage Times." It's very 90s, so Massive Attack. I don't know. It's beautiful. What Senka did with the vocals is it's great. And I don't know. I can talk for every song. The last song out, it was initially an instrumental song, and then I asked Senka to write something, and she only wrote like wrote like "Sail into the Unknown." She gave me that, and then I designed the sound with their vocals, and that song takes you to another universe. It's so beautiful. And Senka, I don't know.
I know, and I wanted to explore a lot of your your lyrics. Save yourself. No nights, no white horse. Um, you know, not wanting to settle. Have you settled? What was the fairy tale? What was your fairy tale? Having missed the cues, worried about that fear. A lot of the stuff that I weaved into my intro. Shadows in the water. There's just so many beautiful thoughts in these lyrics. One of your songs
Thank you.
tells the listener to breathe in, so pure. The I thought of the concept of birth and and the album and you two coming together. This first album, the breathe in, it's so pure. You're open to new ideas. There's just a lot of really uh, there's a lot of beautiful texture, poetry in the lyrics, and then the music as well. I love that. For
Jeremiah,
what's that?
there's something I need to tell you. It's very important about this album. We cannot miss this. Grain of Salt. That song is so special because the chorus, even though you may not notice, is singing Senka. I'm singing too, and a girl, a singer from Nigeria.
Mm,
So when Senka, this is like a rock song. I gave Senka the music, and she was like, "I'm going to write these lyrics in this song about the current situation, about the war and everything, right?" And then she gave me that. That song is so awesome, and I was like, "Man, this chorus is perfect. It sounds like a gospel chorus, even though it's a rock song." And it's like, we need to record like 30 vocals on this, and now you have the chorus with three singers. I'm not a singer, but I'm singing there. So it's very special. So
yeah,
this album has Nigeria,
we opened
Venezuela,
with that.
and
Yeah, we opened with Grain of Salt in one of the segments back, and I actually, I listen to each song, and I can't play every song fully. So I cut, but I played a good minute and a half of each song, and some of them were short, so I played the entire song because I have so much time I can play music with our license. But that what you're referring to, where you're all singing there, I didn't know that, but I did play that part of that song. I did like that, so the listener did hear that, and you can hear it again, and you should by going to Bandcamp and purchasing "Breathe In, Breathe Out." All right, so we've got to say goodbye, sadly. Um, there's, like I said, there's so many other things I want to talk to you about. So I want you guys to come back when you would like to with your next song that you release, and maybe we can explore some more of these ideas and new ones. Um, you wanted to talk to me and tell me about the new single that we are about to play in its entirety for everyone right now. The new single is Careless Night, and we're premiering it here first. It's been premiered in other places, but we're premiering it here first on the show for you in just a moment. But go ahead and set that song up and tell us a little bit about it if you like.
Well, Carlos and I remember telling Senka like that we should do, and we're going to do an 80s song, you know, New Order, I don't know, Joy Division, The Cure, The Page Mode, something like that, but with our sound. And it was a very difficult song because it's the first time I do something like this. And you want to know something very peculiar? I hated the song. I thought that it wasn't going to be. I thought I wasn't be able to finish that song. It was like, man, I'm not getting this. It's so bad. But I never quit. Never. That's why I tell Senka, I don't accept a no for an answer. We have to do it. And I think this song can take us, I don't know, it's a worldwide song. It's amazing with Senka. You can talk about the lyrics, it's something spectacular. So
It's beautiful.
Yeah, actually, when it comes to Careless Night, I loved writing it. It was so much fun, and I loved doing it because it was so close to who I was as a writer. I saw it as probably the most mainstream out there song out of the whole album, and I instantly started thinking about making lyrics as catchy as possible and making it sound good, but also not making lyrics too simple. I really wanted to get it out there in the best way possible, and the ideas just started coming with the vibe of the instrumental was so big city nightlife, going out things, and when that idea came, it just stuck to me, and I was like, okay, this has to be a song about a night out, about friends having a night out, and I will make those 3 verses in the chorus, and it will be catchy. And so that's what I did. So Carlos hated it, but I loved it. The
no,
process.
I hated the process. You know why? You know something I told my best friend in Venezuela and also told Senka when I was writing the drums and the synth bass. I was like, okay, when you're writing music, I know we don't have time. I'm going to be quick. When we are writing music, and any producer or songwriter or mixer, it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
The process can be, you know, when you're editing, it's like, man, I hate this. I cannot do anymore. When it's done, when it's finished, it's the best feeling in the world. When I started to write this song, I told my best friend dude, this song is going to be a #1 hit. I was only writing the drums and the bass. And I told Senka, this is going to be a #1 hit. This song is perfect. Then I hated it, but here we are.
Well, you hated the process, but you loved the song in general.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of being an artist. I think you're most critical probably of yourself, right? And the process, and then, you know, but it's a great song, and we're gonna play it right now. I'm gonna give both of you final words. Anybody you want to thank? Any final words to your new fans that are gonna hear, that have been listening to this interview, to your music, to your album, and now to Careless Night?
First of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. It's been amazing. And thank you for all the words regarding our album and music. It means everything to us, really. We don't do this for money. We do this because we love it. So that's the best regards. And thank you for the new fans. Thank you for the people to listen to our music. We appreciate it a lot, and hopefully we will have new listeners around the world.
You will. I guarantee it. It's that good. Call me Shadow.
Thank you, Jeremiah, for having us. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. When we first started promoting this album and sending out all those emails, we had the idea how to do it regarding media in our respective countries, in Bosnia and Costa Rica, and Carlos also in Venezuela, but we had no idea about the rest of the world, and everything seemed like, I told Carlos that this seems like science fiction, getting airplay in Canada, in US, in UK, in Australia. And then when those airplays started coming in, and then when media and you started responding, it just felt like, okay, we are doing something right here. So we are so happy that our effort is sort of coming to be seen, and we are happy with each new fan, each new listener that we get. And we would like to say thank you and to greet everyone who is listening and everyone who will listen to our music. Thank you.
Maya, we are going to release this album physically, and the artwork is beautiful. And you know what? We're going to be on the credits because of this great interview. So we will send you an album.
Not necessary. I want you to make whatever dreams that you both have. I want them to be realized. And don't forget, this is a home for you and your music at any time, anything you want to get out there. You guys are on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, Bandcamp. When you go and you like the music, I mean, our fans of the show are music lovers. And so I know we have some of the best listeners in the world out there. And I really listen to the interview we just did with both of these artists. And I know you like the music, and you're about to hear the new single. Go to all the sites, whatever you listen to, Spotify, if it's Bandcamp, or if it's YouTube, don't forget to follow or subscribe to the music, to them. Not just listen and enjoy it, but just subscribe to it. Even if you can't afford an album, that's how you build listeners and an audience, and how music industry takes notice. So if you love these artists as much as I do, please hit subscribe and follow Imágenes Mentales and Call Me Shadow. Thank you so much. And without any more interruptions, we're going to go to Careless Night. I'll see you soon. I think Richard gave up. Oh, he's there. Okay, we just
You went home.
We're done. We're done. You can go home. I'm gonna come see you. So can you stop the recording though? I want to give a couple of names out without being recorded. Sure. So it's 5:30. It's probably like 6 o'clock now. What time is it for you, Sanka?
Oh, you are going to be shocked.
In the morning.
It's 1:30 a.m.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Still recording, just in case, right? It's still recording.
Yeah, it is. He's gonna log out. There he goes. All right, we're off.